How's your luck?
It's not great, is it, Jonathan, at the moment? Look, the lads gave everything tonight. We're flat, though. The bottom line, we lost another game of football.
After scoring the goal, we had a period of 2 minutes that we went deep suddenly, and it's very passive. We are going to cross the ball and concede a very poor goal. And at the end, we pushed. We found a way to score the goal with the connection between Gavi and Bukayo, and obviously delighted because at the end that's what we wanted.
The plan did work. The lads carried it out really well. We were very disciplined. We obviously can't open up here. It'd be asking for trouble. So we were a lot more compact than we were on Monday. Different game, different opposition. It was the right way to go. Lads worked hard on it. They believed in it, and we had to wait for our moments and to show the courage to get back in it after going 1-0 down. We started pushing. We pressed. We made changes. Got back into it. But then the stuff I was speaking about before again. This is why we are where we are. We've got to value stopping the cross. We've got to defend the goal, and we're not doing that well enough. We're not.
It's hard not to feel for him, and football can be cruel or joyous depending on which side of the coin you're on. And in fact, up until the last 5 minutes of that game, it was going last.
Yeah.
So what do you make of Arsenal's performance, really?
Well, first of all, I have to say how brilliant Wolves were and how hard and difficult, and they frustrated Arsenal for long periods of the game. And Arsenal didn't play well at all. There was a nervousness about it. They were edgy. But ultimately, what they did, I thought, really well, Arsenal, was what they've done really well in games this season also, is crosses. That was the one constant in the game today, that particularly down the right-hand side with this guy. And what is impressive also is how many numbers they actually get in the box. You got Tim up there, that ball goes in there, he comes inside, left foot, very good cross. 1v1 on the right-hand side. He goes again. You know what he can do. Very difficult to mark. He goes on the outside this time. But same thing again. You've got bodies in the box. This time it's Rice that's getting on the end of it. But constantly they're putting balls into the box and asking questions of the defence. And I don't care who you're playing against. It's tough to do. That's it. That's an unbelievable cross and deserved to be in the back of the net. But he kept on doing it. 30 crosses they got in the box today. Second in games, that is. 32 they had against Manchester City, and there's no doubt that I'm seeing that more crosses, not only from Arsenal but from teams that are coming into the box last season and in particular this season. And ultimately, when you keep on putting balls into the box, that's what's won them the game today. Whether they played well or not, you can discuss who was good, who was not, but that was the impressive thing about them, is how many times they kept going into those positions and getting them in there, and still people trying to get on the end of it.
Look, it was another set piece that broke the deadlock here, and there's a bit of noise as well about Saka and offside and build-up to this, which we will clear up in a minute, Dan.
Yeah, here it is. I mean, you can tell he's in an offside position there from the first look, and most of us watching it thinking, oh, he could be offside, and then when it actually goes, he clears it out for a corner. We'll go through the rules in a minute. It's not offside. They get the corner. We know how good they are. It's actually not his best ball in the world. Keeper should deal with it, and he doesn't. But the amount of pressure they constantly put on goalkeepers, time and time again, it's no wonder they make mistakes. But he'll be disappointed with that. And they get the look as well. Bounces off the post on the back of him, and that's where we thought the game was done.
OK, so here's the reason why, and we've checked with PGMOL here, why he wouldn't have been given offside here. Because Bukayo Saka didn't do any of these four things. He didn't affect his opponent's line of vision. He didn't challenge the opponent for the ball. He didn't attempt to play the ball. He just dropped off, didn't he? And he didn't do anything that impacted the ability of the opponent to play the ball. So when you look at it, like that, in black and white, that is why he wasn't given offside.
Yeah, and you have to accept that decision. That's something we've seen now for a long time. Yeah. Obviously, if he'd have gone in and scored on that, he'd have been off. So, yeah, right decision. Well done, VAR.
Yeah.
Refs.
At the end, it was a roller coaster. Obviously, the longer the game went with the 0-0, obviously they had hope, and obviously we have to accelerate our game and take more risk. In the first half, we created a lot of situations without any clear big chance, apart probably the header Martinelli, which is just two meters away from the goal. And after scoring the goal, we had a period of 2 minutes that we went deep suddenly, and it's very passive. We are trying to cross the ball and concede a very poor goal. And at the end, we pushed. We found a way to score the goal with the connection between Gavi and Bukayo, and obviously delighted because at the end that's what we wanted.
What delighted you the most?
At the end, the final reaction, but we know that, but it's not enough. I mean, we haven't conceded a single entry in the box, I think, or a shot in the whole match, and suddenly in the first action that they had, we look so passive, and it's not at the level that is required to win the game comfortably.
But title winners, successful sides find a way. You found a way.
No, we did find a way, and that's a very positive thing. Is no, we'll be very, very frustrated and rally. So there are things to improve, obviously, and the margin should have been bigger, especially with what we produce in the game, even though there are a lot of things to improve. But that's it, win the game and go on.
Well done.
Aaron, do you like that from your old teammate? You know, he's honest. He said that we looked passive, but you cross this one off and you think about the Hill Dickinson and move on.
Yeah, I really like how honest he was then analysing that. I think, that was clear what we saw tonight. Wolves frustrated Arsenal. They sat in a low block and really made it difficult at times. But these are the games that you need to win if you're going to go on to win the Premier League. So they found a way in the end, which is really encouraging. But, they'll have to learn from, their reaction after conceded that goal. Like Mikel just said then, they went, they start to drop off, get deeper and deeper, and then inviting that pressure on them. So, it was a bit self-inflicted, but, there'll be things to learn. But pleasing that they got the 3 points in the end.
They found the way, Tim. That's all that's mattered tonight, isn't it?
That's right. The best teams find a way and the champions find a way. So they're yet to be champions, but I think they're champions in waiting for me.
There we go, champions in waiting, says Mr. Tim Sherwood. We shall see what Manchester City have to say in...
A 5-point lead at the top of the Premier League table. Martin saved tonight, involved in both of the goals. Their star boy Saka, he may have competition now from Madueke, but still standing out on that pitch.
Yeah, I mean, for so many years, obviously, in those 6 years, him and Martinelli have been through on the whole journey, and this guy Saka keeps turning up in every game. He's the only one really tonight. It was a bit of a different performance. Look at the pace he has there. He just couldn't find an opening. But in the end, that cross that he makes for the winning goal is all important. But nice relationships down the right, both with Ben White to begin with, and then Timber. He's a player who just keeps giving. And the go-to player now from an Arsenal point of view. I do think he's top level from an Arsenal point of view.
How will it help him, not just the competition that he's getting from Madueke, but the fact he's able to have a rest now as well?
Yeah, I think that will help him a lot. Actually, I think it will help the team. Madueke's been brilliant since he's come in. But Saka's still the star of the show. I thought he was the only one that probably played with any urgency. I think he's the only one that actually played to his normal level. They're fortunate in a way, Arsenal, to get a win when they weren't at their best. But I thought Saka was great again today.
I thought Madueke was actually unfortunate not to come on when you saw how well he played against Bruges. Not sure why that was. But, there is that competition for places, and they go again for next week at Everton.
Well, it was a frustrating night for Mikel Arteta. Ended up a happy night for him, though. So let's get his post-match thoughts now with Liam.
I know the important thing will be the 3 points, but how do you reflect on your team's performance?
Yeah, it is at the end of the day, but we knew that it was going to be a tough match, especially if we wouldn't manage to score early in the game. We had a lot of situations in the first half. One massive big chance of Guy Martinelli 2 yards out, totally free. We don't score, but we struggled once we arrived into those danger zones to pick our red shirts in the box. That we had many situations, and then we don't generate that many clear chances. In the second half, we did that a bit better, scored the goal, but then we had a period of 3 minutes in deep. So passive, really poor defensive habits, not acceptable for our level because we haven't conceded a single shot till that point. The first time they do it, they score a goal, and that's the Premier League, and we need to be very, very much aware of that and improve that, because at the end, you rely on an individual action, a very chaotic action to score the goal and win the game, and the margins should have been bigger.
On Wolverhampton, they worked so hard. They've sat in 2 very deep rows to defend against your team. Were you surprised that you weren't able to create more?
Well, we created a lot of situation without picking the right player in the final pass. The amount of situation we have an overload in the box and we hit the first man. It's not the standards that we need to generate more. But I wasn't surprised. I was the game against Chelsea Stamford Bridge. What they did against Villa, how unlucky they were not to get a result there. So I was expecting that if we didn't manage to score early, that we were going to have to suffer.
Come the end of the season, performances like today in games you should win will become all that more important. How much of a mental boost does it give you that you didn't give up and you can go and score a last-minute winner?
Yeah, and that gives you belief that regardless how the game goes, that you can always find a solution to win it. But now we're going to have a clean week. We need to start to train certain aspects that is slowly, because you don't train them. You start to deteriorate a little bit, and then we go again, because in the Christmas period we know what happens.
Good minutes for Gyökeres tonight, but you score your goals from 2 own goals. How much of it is him needing to do a little bit more, and how much of it is the team finding ways to create him chances to score?
It's a collaboration between the two. He was in a lot of really good position, and the ball didn't get into the area quick enough, sharp enough, or just with the precision that is required for a line to score the goal. But his work rate and intentions were there, and we need to keep insisting.
I know it's good to have players returning from illness, from injury. Ben White went off early in the game. How is he?
We don't know. I think he felt something in his hamstring. We'll have to wait and see the extent of that injury. So, yeah, no good news in that sense.
Mikel, congratulations. Cheers.
Yeah, not good news with Ben White. Yet another defensive injury, which has been a bit of the story of the season. Just how important is it, though, that they have that week off now, Martin, to regroup, work on a few things before Everton away?
Yeah, I think it's really important that you get a couple of days away to mentally and physically relax. You're away from each other. They've been in and out of each other's pockets for weeks on end. A shopping list full of matches. The manager will demand, and he sets the standards, and that's right and proper. But they'll go again, and I do feel just a break now is needed. They've just hung on long enough to stay. It's over to City, really, over to Villa, to see what they're capable of this weekend.
How do you think that will change the mindset of City and Villa going into their games after seeing that performance from Arsenal tonight?
Yeah, they weren't at their best, and I think they were probably hoping Arsenal would slip up. You know, in the end, they didn't. You know, they found a way to win the game, which is the most important thing. You know, there's no pictures on the trophy, Lindsay, at the end of the season. You just got to get your name on it, you know, and that gives them an opportunity to do that. But I think Manchester City and Aston Villa are right there. But I think Mikel, no, they weren't at their best today. They didn't have that urgency, and even at the end when it was, you know, they didn't really get out. You know, they invited almost Wolves to come on to them, and he won't want that. You know, they need to be braver and get out and put pressure, not allow teams to come to the Emirates and play. But league table still looks really good for
It
Arsenal.
certainly
They're
does,
top.
and so does their home form as well. Another win at home, Martin. 4 as well of their next 6 games are at home, which will give them a massive lift as well.
Yeah, but you're just striving for perfection. And it's like, you know, I think they've sat in a little bit. Maybe they sat in a little bit at Sunderland. Maybe they sat in a bit at Aston Villa. And clearly they sat in here, and you invite that pressure on. And you know the pressure mounts, the opposition get opportunities, and I think that's something they won't do again. You've got to go and press that ball and don't invite people on, and it made it difficult for themselves, but they still found a way to win.
Is it sometimes good to have a game like that
100%.
in the middle of this run, because it just sharpens the minds a little bit and reminds you what you've got to do?
Yeah, 100%. And to be fair, they've got here by doing what they've done, by being brave, having courage and being aggressive and being the best defensive team. I thought they invited Wolves onto them, and I think Mikel can show on the clips. And in the end, they got away with it. You know, they found a way to get the 3 points, but he can show on the clips, say, guys, we can't sit in against a team that's bottom. We got to go and be aggressive, put pressure on them, force them to play the ball, and I think he'll be delighted, really, that they got away with it today.
Your look told me you don't think it's ever good, Martin.
No, I think it's a reality check, and it keeps your feet on the ground. And in a way, it's brilliant for the manager, because he knows now there's improvements to be made. And while you keep making improvements, you're not patting people on the back too much. And they know there's work ahead of them. There's a hell of a long way to go yet in this Premier League race.
And it is a huge victory for them in the context of the title race. But Martin, tonight, certainly a performance to forget. Yeah, you wouldn't want to be playing like that too often if you want to be champions. And every team that's prospective champions will have a game like that. We saw Man City at Fulham recently, didn't we? Only win the game 5-4, so it can happen to anybody. Look, when you're playing the bottom league team, I don't think it was complacency. I think they set out
I think we have to give Wolves credit, and then Arsenal sort of played themselves into a hole, and they didn't really create. It wasn't the creativity that you'd expect, and in the end, it became lucky Arsenal again. And it's nice, if you want to be champions, you have to be lucky. Any team I've ever been successful in has been lucky at some point, and Arsenal can breathe a sigh of relief tonight that they've got through one here. A really difficult game for them.
Unlucky for Wolves, though, Owen, on a night where Arsenal's luck was in. Sometimes when you're down at the bottom in that position, the luck just goes against you.
Yeah, I mean, they were unlucky. They were very unfortunate. You see here, the ball from Declan Rice. This is just before that corner. Saka's just offside, and the linesman doesn't put his flag up, even though he's probably right there. And
is it an offside offence, though? That's what they're looking at.
Well, of course it is. He's offside. He goes towards the ball. I mean, that he doesn't touch it. But this is what leads to the corner and ultimately the goal. And it is unfortunate for Wolves. And Sam Johnson, up to that point, he had made a couple of saves. You see Timber, they love to overload this back post there. And I think
Shearer, is it?
Shearer, he had literally just come on 30 seconds earlier and probably just bumped Sam Johnson a fraction. It probably affects him the way he tries to push that over the bar. Again, tiny little things that all add up in the game. But they were a little bit unfortunate there, Wolves.
And you feel hugely at this point for Sam Johnson, Martin, because just before that he'd made 2 wonderful saves to keep his side in it.
And dare I say it, he was looking like man of the match. But
not Martin Ødegaard.
No. But no, look, he's gone. He was at that point. He was playing exceptionally well, and those things happen. I felt he should have perhaps dealt with it a little bit easier. It wasn't enough of a bump, I don't think. And at that point, we're thinking, okay, 1-0 to the Arsenal, and this is going to be very lucky. But suddenly, Wolves come right back into it.
What did you think, Owen, of the way they fought back after going down, and then get that equaliser through Tolu Orekadaru?
Do you know what? It was a great goal for them. One thing I would say is Arsenal really dropped off. They didn't put any pressure on Wolves, who are bottom. Look, there's no pressure on this cross here. Mane whips a great ball, and Alcantara was with a great header.
It was very odd.
And the thing, look how deep Arsenal. They never got out for about 10 minutes. Wolves had possession, and I think Mikel will probably be a note that they've got to get out, put pressure on the ball. It's a good ball in, but there's no pressure. Everybody's just ball watching, and I think the striker does brilliant. He stands in front of the defender, Hincapie, gets a flick on it. And it was actually a really good goal from Wolves.
Alcantara, yeah, very good finish. He looked good actually when he came on.
Really
He seemed to improve them. What I couldn't quite understand, I was thinking of going out and shouting at the players myself to go and press the ball high up the pitch, because Arsenal seemed quite happy to sit and defend on the edge of their own box.
I don't think they can afford to hang on. They can't hang on like that.
It was inviting Wolves on, and it just had that feeling that they were going to score, and in the end they did.
At that point, Martin, did you feel the title race slipping away?
Well, I said to you, I think the whole title is on this game, because the commotion around, the noise around, there's a lot of feeling. You won't feel it because you don't support Arsenal, but if you support Arsenal, there's a lot of feeling against the club, and it's kind of like they wouldn't want to trip up in this one, because it would be the ultimate trip up. You're playing the bottom team in the table. We've only got 2 points, so it was really important that Arsenal responded, and we thought it was Jesus, but in the end it was another own goal that gets Arsenal out of jail.
It was more bad luck for Wolves and Mosquera this time, Owen, and you could see just how devastated he was when this went in.
Yeah, but to be fair, the only player that really created anything today was Saka. He was the one player that probably played to his natural level. I think they made a change after that wing-back Muller-Wolfer came off. There's no pressure on the ball. And Mosquera, he was actually unfortunate as well, because he defended brilliantly all game and just comes off his head. But again, no pressure on the cross.
I think it's Jesus' movement, though, that ultimately the defender gets unlucky, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Jesus doesn't get the touch, but it's definitely his run and movement. And that is food for thought for the manager.
He looked good, didn't he?
He looked good when he came on. Yoker is still not at the fitness level you'd expect. And there's a real tussle now for who's going to be that number 9. And Jesus has put himself right back in there.
What do you think the debrief will be like, Martin, inside that Arsenal dressing room now? Will it be relief, or will there be a lot of discussions going on about the way they played tonight?
I don't think the manager will be too tough on them, but it's a reminder that they've got to do more, and they can't be complacent. I don't know if it was complacency. You're playing against the bottom team. Do you turn up here and think, OK, we've only got to turn up and win? The messages from the manager to the players. There was a lot of passing going astray in that first half. It wasn't the Arsenal that we expected. They looked like strangers at one stage. But in the end, they find the win, and that's the most important thing. So they build for the next one.
Well, guys, we're going to hear right now from Rob Edwards, whose team gave everything tonight, but ultimately ended up with nothing to show for it. We can hear from Rob Edwards with Liam.
Rob, how do you begin to process a night like that? So many emotions. You get yourself back in it. Your team worked so hard for you.
Yeah, they did. It's really difficult. It's hard to come out and talk to you now at this moment. I'm not going to lie. Ultimately, we've lost another game of football. And I know, I can make all the excuses in the world. I can say, look, it's Arsenal away and all of that. But we've lost. We've lost the game. And I think it's our fault as well. Look, the lads carried the game plan out really well. They worked extremely hard. They limited Arsenal to quite little for them, by their high standards. The 2 goals we conceded are quite bizarre, especially the first one. But to get back in it, to work that hard, get back in it, and show a lot of fight, a lot of spirit, a lot of courage, all the things that we're asking for, the things that are in our control, the stuff I spoke to you about at the beginning of the game, then to lose it very late on, it hurts. Yeah, it hurts.
I know right now the emotions are going to be high. Do you think there's enough of a springboard there? You mentioned how hard your team worked. For a lot of that game, you limited the best team in the country, team who were the top of the league, to not too many chances. Yeah, there's a lot there to like, but right now I hate losing. I hate losing. I know what we've come into is difficult. We're going the right way about it. We're trying to, but so far, in the 5 games we've seen that. So it is a positive tonight, apart from the result. We're in a results business, and that's why I'm so disappointed in there. And I've told the lads as well, because the stuff we spoke about before the game, the basics: stop a cross, defend the cross. We've done it for, almost 100 minutes. Do it for that last bit. We take something from the game, we can build on it. Now, if that hadn't have happened, how would my emotions be feeling now standing here talking to you? I'd probably be feeling very different as well. So that one moment is just going to affect a lot of people's feelings and thoughts on the game as well. But look, congratulations to Arsenal. That's why they are where they are. They keep going, they fight, they find a way. And, it's probably why we are where we are at the moment as well, because we found a way to lose it. Often games are decided by those moments, as you've just mentioned. How far is this team away from reflecting the principles that you want them to play by? I don't know. I'm gonna crystal ball. It's a difficult question now. I'm seeing it. I've seen it in a few games. I think tonight we saw it for the whole thing. Otherwise, we couldn't switch off. They don't let you switch off, and we saw concentration, we saw effort, we saw a fighting spirit, togetherness, and quality at the right moments as well. You can't come and open up against this team, not the sort of position we're in and where we're at the moment. Not really anyone can do that. You have to be compact. You have to wait for your moments. We did it. So I saw a lot of good things. Proud of many aspects of it. Proud of the supporters for sticking with it and being right with us at the end as well. I feel for them. I feel for them at the moment. It's difficult. It's really tough for them. But to travel all this way late and then to be snatched away. Yeah, I feel for them at the moment as well. What does it say about your team that you've come here and you are as disappointed as you are, that you've gone to the top of the league, you've held them, and it's come down to two moments? What does it say about the group of players that shows you that you can go and get yourself out of this difficult patch? Well, we have to continue to try and do the right thing. So the message that we're trying to do, the stuff we're trying to live every day and train every single day, we have to keep valuing it, because I know it's the right thing. I know it's the right way to go. And as I say, we've seen it. We've seen it tonight against a brilliant team. So we're going about it the right way, and then you hope things will turn. You hope things will go the right way for us. It hits the post and goes the other way and not off our goalkeeper's head. Thank you, and all the best. Hard luck tonight. Cheers.
Tough night for Rob Edwards. Lots for him to be proud of tonight. Obviously found it difficult to even come out and talk at the end of that. Owen, just how does he even attempt to try and pick them up after that?
I think it's easy. I think they played great, and he can be really proud of his team. For a team that's on 2 points to come to the team that's top of the table, best defence, highest, one of the highest scoring teams. I thought they had the same amount of shots on target, 2 each. I thought they probably deserved something from the game. They were unlucky not to get something from the game, 2 own goals. But I think if he looks at the performance as a whole, he'll actually be really proud and really pleased. I thought they defended really well. They've leaked goals all season, terrible goals. And probably the only reason they conceded was because they made changes. I think it affected the rhythm. I thought the boys that were playing probably did brilliant. Maybe some had fitness issues. That's why they had to make changes. I think Fer Lopez was the one that, that came on, probably wasn't playing his natural position, didn't put pressure on the ball, but if they play like they did today, it doesn't matter who's coming up. You see the fixtures up in the screen there.
Yeah,
They can
Brentford
get
at home next
they,
is massive.
They can
for
get
them.
points from anyone, because I think with the players that they have at the top of pitch especially, they can cause people trouble. And I remember when Rob Edwards was at Luton, they really struggled, and then he went to 2 up, and he had a go and he went for it. And Luton were a lot better for it. They were exceptional, and I think he's going to do the same here. I think he'd be proud of the way the boys played today.
But do you think there will be too much psychological damage from losing in the manner they did tonight? I mean, every single one of them just looked sick out there at the end of that.
Yeah, it was a big improvement, probably their best performance of the season, without doubt. You saw how poor they were against Manchester United. They're 13 points, though, from safety. Although Brentford coming up next, I think they've lost 7 of their last 8 away games.
Yeah.
So that's a game they can maybe win. He's got to build on this. You know, OK, it's a defeat, but in some ways there's been a mini victories, and they showed they gave a good account of themselves, and that's all he's got to work with. But it has improved, but it's so difficult to get back, isn't it? With all those games they've got to win now.
I mean, that graphic there is remarkable. You know, you played 20 games, 0 wins. 17, 3 points from 60. You would have never known that if you watched that game.
Yeah.
You would have never known, and that's a credit to them. And I think even with Andre and João Gomez, they got 2 terrific central midfield players. You know, I think at the top of the pitch, obviously with Strand Larsen and Wang, I think he posed a threat. Akudara came off the bench, and I thought he was exceptional. Sam Johnson had a great game. So if they can find a way to defend and keep a clean sheet, I think they can get some points.
Is it not salvageable, though?
They need to go on a run, sharpish. But I thought today that performance will give them a lot of confidence.
Yeah, there were signs there, weren't they? They have to try.
9 consecutive home wins in this place. How important is it that teams know that coming here is going to be a difficult day for them?
Yeah, that's the objective of ours. You know, coming to the Emirates. We want to make the teams know that they're at the Emirates. We want to make them know that it's going to be tough here. It's not going to be an easy day, and so far we've done that.
Played against a team for a lot of today. It was attack v defence. How did you manage staying patient to create those openings?
Yeah, it was frustrating at times, we'll be honest, but the message was for the boys was to stay patient and to keep moving the ball, keep trying things, keep shooting, keep taking risks, and in the end we got our reward.
A good week, bounce back after the weekend. Morale must be high within the group right now, mustn't it?
Yeah, it's high, and we've got a break now until next week, so obviously we can reflect on the past few performances and be ready to go again next week.
Going into that break, 5 points clear at the top, over to City now, isn't it?
Yeah, you said it well.
They did find a way, didn't they, your old team, Mr. Aaron Ramsey? And let's have a look at what it does to the top of the table without giving away what happens in the other games, which is still to show everyone. Arsenal with a 5-point lead over Manchester City. Played a game more. Aston Villa 30, 31, 36. It looks healthy, doesn't it, for the Gunners?
Yeah, it does. I mean, obviously these are the games that you need to win if you want to, be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. So, especially with Man City, who have been there for, many times. Their experience there, they've done it. You've got them breathing down your neck as well. So it's important now to try and keep as much distance as you can between yourselves and them, because they have sort of, shortened that gap a little bit now. So sitting top of Christmas, you'll be happy with that. And, hopefully a lot more to look forward to now in the new year.
Yeah, look, Arsenal were frustrated, whether that was down to Wolves, whether it was down to a bit of themselves. They didn't have a shot on target, Tim, until the 68th minute. Yeah. But the first goal came in the 70th. From a corner. Surprise, surprise.
It's about the delivery. It is when Declan takes it. It is when Saka takes it. I think Sam Johnson in the goal there, he's looking for a defender or someone to come onto his toes, and no one ever does. And they get a little bit fortunate, of course they do, but the delivery was absolutely magnificent from Mikel Saka. A player who's just amazing for that in that Arsenal shirt. When you need someone to get you out of trouble, he was the one who stood up there today, not only with that goal, with the delivery, but he's a constant threat. And as we see with the winning goal as well.
Aaron, your old teammate, Mikel Arteta, the Arsenal boss, he said he was very frustrated at just how passive Arsenal were, having taken the lead.
Yeah, I think, it was a very honest assessment after the game. And, at the end of the day, the 3 points is all that matters. But, you want to be able to learn from these little experiences that you get throughout the season. So for them, yeah, as soon as they scored, they looked a bit... edgy, like they were sort of trying to protect that now. And that just invited Wolves, onto them. Put themselves under unnecessary pressure. The ball comes out, the guy has a free, cross to put in the box. Nobody really closes him down. And then, turning your back, you know, you got to face that ball and take one in the face if you must. But all these little things were, you know, you could sense it. They were under pressure for, you know, 2, 3, 4 minutes, whatever it was, and Wolves did deserve that probably.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only reason they're that deep. I mean, they're deeper than the penalty spot there, Will. I mean, in normal circumstances, when that ball goes out and it gets cleared, they're out to the 18-yard box and they're holding a line there. But because they get nervy, you know, they're trying to hold on, they all got behind the ball. It was unnecessary for them all to be that deep and behind the ball. And when you give even poor players like Wolves have the quality, the timing, ball into your box, and it was a decent finish in the end, and you thought, hold on a minute, this is disastrous for Arsenal. But, you know, champions find a way to win, and perhaps that is, for me, I think they'll win it this year. I really do. I believe they will. I think when they see obstacles in their way, they're getting over them at the moment. You know, even when they take a devastating defeat last week at Aston Villa in the 95th minute or something, they needed to win today, and the pressure was on them to come and put a performance in. They didn't do that. There was no performance. It was edgy towards the end. But you know what the most important thing is? The result. They get 3 points, maximum points, and the manager can then show them the video of how they drop deep, and they can learn from it going forward, because believe you me, it's going to get a lot more edgy than what it is now. The anxiety is going to increase during the season.
And if they are to win the Premier League title, they might look back at this game and think this was a key moment. This was in the 94th minute. It's nearly Christmas. One own goal wasn't enough, was it? Yerson Mosquera in the 94th minute here. Gabriel Jesus causing all sorts of problems around him, Aaron.
Yeah, what I loved here was they had the overload in the box there, 4 against 3. And then Saka, you know, obviously coming in onto his left. We know how deadly he is from these positions. Put in an excellent ball. And then the runs then, his run across the defender is brilliant. He causes that bit of sort of, you know, unrest between them. And then, you know, it comes off his head and goes into his own goal. But, you know, the runs there were just as important as the cross to create that goal. But that's it. They found a way. They kept going. Last week, they were on the other end of it, where Villa did that, but this week they seem to have learned from that as well and, you know, finished the job off.
No chance for Wolves, Tim, in terms of the games they've got remaining. I mean, look, they're breaking all sorts of records they don't want to break at the moment, aren't they?
No chance whatsoever. I don't blame Rob Edwards. I think whoever would have gone in there now, I think the lack of quality what they have, unless someone went in there with a magic wand, they were always going to get relegated. And I think that's where they see them in the Championship, unfortunately. But it was a good performance today. But don't need good performances, you need good points. And at the moment, 2 points, not good enough.
Yeah, you just saw the stats there. They need a result at home to Brentford to better that. When there are many more records to come, which Rob Edwards will be hoping that they do not end up breaking. Right.
Ya saltan 1K y el Barrio. Es determinante cuánto daño puede hacer el conjunto de 1K, sobre todo con Granero en esas primeras de cambio en la salida de escalera. Así que esa parte del partido va a ser absolutamente clave para el equipo de Iker Casillas. Por cierto, felicitar porque ha venido una buena afición de 1K.
Tiene la pelota, Gerard Noya encara, sigue Noya, dispara, Arnalot.
80 paradas.
paradas ya para Arnalot. Gil Vidal ataca desde la derecha el número 9. Gil Vidal con el centro, buena pelota, Arché, con la rodilla le pegó. Pues es el que desatasca un poco el partido, ¿no? Con centros, ojo ahí, se golpeó, el remate, ¡gol! ¡Marc Valiente! ¡Gol! Del Barrio, marca Marc Valiente. Esa banda izquierda que es terreno de los cañonazos de Granero, a la que tengo un mínimo de espacio, le pega Granero. Bueno, pues es decirlo. Y ahí lo tenemos. El tema es que el remate le ha salido centrado. Abraham, buena pelota, banda derecha. Vamos a ver qué hace ahí Fran Rodríguez. Se mete en el área, sigue Fran. ¡Qué bien, Fran! Se va de 2, el remate fuera.
¡Chicos!
A ver si acierta. ¡Claro que
Mira
sí! Busca el Barrio el segundo gol. Arché para Gil. Gil que le puede pegar a este Gil. Buen recorte. Gil al palo. Le manda Arché.
¡Dios! ¡No! Madre mía, qué parada. Y a centímetros del remate, ¿eh?
No, la reacción ha sido impresionante. ¡El disparo! ¡Madre de Dios! ¡Otro que vuela! ¡Otro más! Que está la pelota para John de la Cruz, la quiere levantar, vuelve a pegar la pelota en el cuerpo de un jugador del Barrio, el remate con la puntera y acaba deteniendo a Gerard Vacas. Será córner favorable a 1K. Bueno, a ver.
Gol doble.
A ver, saque de banda Balón puesto en movimiento, intentaba rematar Mar Valiente, el remate, ¡gol! ¡Baufer! ¡Gol! ¡Del Barrio! ¡Le pegó con el alma! ¡Baufer!
Y es
penalti
¡madre
normal.
mía lo de los penaltis!
Penalti normal. Y el que quiere hacer el 0-3 es el número 4, Pega Valiente. ¡Vaya cañón! ¡Gol! Ahí están Arnalot y Vacas como candidatos, como guardametas, y también Mar Valiente y Baufer. Ojo a la recuperación. Tiene la pelota al Barrio que puede sentenciar el remate. ¡Gol!
Knockout.
¡Let's go, Barria! Ponme el 5, ponme el 5, ponme el 5.
El cambio del partido ha sido radical en los últimos 10 minutos. El balón que lo tiene. ¡Ojo!
¡Ay, ay, 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 ay! Jaimitada.
Marca de nuevo el Barrio, gol de Fran Fuentes. El equipo de Juan Arroita, que no ganaba un encuentro con esta tranquilidad, entre comillas, al final, con un margen tan amplio, con 2 goles dobles que han hecho pasar el partido del 0-3 al 0-7.
Baufer ha costado, pero por fin ha llegado esa victoria tan deseada con goleada.
Ha costado mucho, pero bueno, le damos emoción hasta el momento final, recta final, y ahora, pase lo que pase con Pío, nos lo jugaremos contra ellos.
Eso te iba a decir, pase lo que pase con Pío, la semana que viene, o ellos, o tú, o tu ex equipo, o tú.
Bueno, o el Barrio o ellos, pero sí. La vida, yo qué sé, no sé, son cosas muy raras que suceden, pero ahí estaremos. Ahora estoy en el Barrio, así que espero que gane el Barrio.
Enhorabuena y a disfrutarlo.
Gracias.